Here are your spoilers for Beyond the Gates on Monday, August 25th, 2025. The Duprees are missing one of their own, and Samantha and Martin have some father-daughter bonding time. Chelsea was already having people wonder if she was going to arrive on time to the pre-launch celebration of Chelsea Cat at the Dupree mansion. Cat was most anxious. And not for nothing either, Chelsea, while she was taking an inordinate time to get ready and leave, had now been waylaid by a mysterious assailant. Using what we believe to be a rag soaked in chloroform, Chelsea was attacked from behind and quickly rendered unconscious. The assailant wore a black leather jacket with zip-up sleeves, and from the momentary snapshot we got, they had slender wrists and a slight build. The primary suspect in everyone's notebook is Chelsea's ex, Allison, who warned Chelsea at the country club that she didn't know what she was missing, but that she's going to know soon enough. In Monday's episode, the Duprees are frantic when they discover one of their own has gone missing. To balance out the drama happening behind the gates of Fairmont Crest, we have some really heartfelt scenes. In Monday's episode, while a missing Dupree is making people frantic, Samantha and Martin have some father-daughter bonding time, something that is sorely needed given the stress of having Martin moving out and the emergence of June as their biological mother. Samantha and Tyrell chose not to see their mother again after the introduction, and the news of that hit June hard, who went around to their house to try to change their mind. Unsuccessful, but not put off, June is going to try to turn her life around. Stay tuned, soap fans. This week on Beyond the Gates promises to be a tense ride. As not only do we have Chelsea missing and chained to a bed at the mercy of her kidnapper, the Duprees also have the ever-present threat of Leslie Thomas, who now has the financial means to take Emmett Anita and stake her claim in Fairmont Crest. Leslie Thomas is here to stay, and they better get used to it. Hey babes, welcome back to Gossip Delight. It's your girl Daisy, and trust me, today's tea is scorching, steamy, and absolutely unmissable. Buckle up, because we're diving straight into the drama. Beyond the Gates spoilers for the week of August 25th to 29 hint that the Dupree family will be living on shaky ground, as Chelsea Hamilton is held for ransom by a kidnapper, while two unlikely people head to the altar to say, "I do." BTG viewers saw the purse designer and social media influencer get chloroformed and dragged away during the Friday, August 22nd show, as she was prepping to go to the launch party of her new company, Chelsea Cat. While people were trying to call and text, Chelsea wasn't answering. In fact, as the Friday show wrapped up, fans were shocked to see Chelsea in a bed, chained up, in an unknown location. As the Monday, August 25th episode rolls around, the Dupree family will find out that Chelsea is being held hostage somewhere, and it appears that the kidnapper will have some intense demands as the week progresses. The Duprees are very wealthy, so it's not hard to see that Chelsea might be held for ransom money, and the family will move mountains to make sure she gets home safely. There will be a lot of emotional moments, and it looks as if this situation may also bring Dani Dupree and Bill Hamilton closer as well. In fact, Andre Richardson will witness a moment between the two exes, so this could complicate the pending reconciliation between Andre and Dani too. In related news, Martin Richardson, who happens to be Chelsea's cousin, will make a deal with the devil. So will he find out who has her and try to bring her home on his own? In addition, Catherine "Cat" Richardson and Jacob Hawthorne will partner up to investigate things, so they may play a key role in bringing Chelsea home. Across town, Vanessa McBride will share news with the Dupree family as the days go by. It's unclear if this is about Chelsea's kidnapping or possibly Leslie Thomas. On the one hand, Joey Armstrong might be helping the family locate Chelsea, and Vanessa is close with Joey, so she could offer some key intel. Still, on the other hand, she's also helping Leslie buy a mansion behind the gates of Fairmont Crest, so she may update them on that drama. Elsewhere, Eva Thomas will get help from Tomas Navarro. Is this about her mother's inheritance or something else? Regardless, these two will continue to get closer. But considering the ick factor Kat has for Tomas since their activities in the bedroom, will she even care? Finally, Beyond the Gates spoilers will for next week tease that two unlikely characters will get married. The opportunities around this are endless. Vanessa could get a quickie divorce from Doug McBride and marry Joey. Then again, Could Leslie blackmail Ted Richardson and get hitched? Leslie will certainly ruffle some feathers over the next 5 days, so anything is possible. There's always a chance that Derek Baldwin and Ashley Morgan head down the aisle, since the firefighter will open up to the nurse about something. Even though they are broken up, Derek has wanted to marry Ashley for a long while, and with his accident that has left him no feeling in his legs, Ashley may feel guilty enough to agree to the nuptials. Beyond the Gates spoilers for the week of August 25 to 29 promise plenty of explosive moments, bombshells, and drama, so fans will need to tune in to see all the chaos unfold. Will Andre change his mind about proving himself to Dani? On Beyond the Gates, it's pretty much all hands on deck after Chelsea gets kidnapped. Who kidnapped her? Will she rescue herself, or will someone have to step up and play the hero? It looks like Jacob and Kat will team up again, so Kat can reunite with her fellow Wonder Cousin. And it looks like this situation may bring Dani and Bill closer together. Here are a few moments to watch for the week of August 25 to 29. Heightened emotions are at play this week because one of the Duprees is in danger. Chelsea has been kidnapped, and the family will do whatever it takes to find her. Naturally, Dani is going to want Bill to find their baby. He's the Dupree family fixer, after all. In BTG's weekly video preview, Dani goes in for the comfort after she pleads with her ex-husband to bring Chelsea home. Does Andre see Dani in Bill's arms? On Tuesday, look for Andre to spy a close moment between Dani and Bill. Will Andre simply chalk it up to the emotions of what's going on? Or will he change his mind about wanting to properly woo Dani like he recreated Paris at home for Ashley? One of the best parts of BTG's first 6 months was Kat turning into Nancy Drew, or even a junior detective to get the goods on Dana Leslie Thomas. This week, when Jacob and Kat follow a promising lead, it signals a reunion of sorts. Kat was relentless in her pursuit of justice regarding Leslie's reign of terror against her family. She could often be found ignoring her boyfriend, Tomas, in favor of parking herself in front of Jacob's desk at the precinct. The two worked well together, although there were frustrations on both sides, but they'll undoubtedly put those aside so they can work their magic and find Chelsea. Finally, on Thursday, an unlikely duo exchanges wedding vows. So much of BTG has been about splitting up couples. It will be interesting to see one actually say their I do's. Hopefully, it'll be a tad less dramatic than Haley and Bill's ceremony. Here's your Beyond the Gates weekly recap for the episodes that aired August 18th to 22nd, 2025. On Beyond the Gates, Leslie was sure Nicole had paid Peaches to deliver a fake story about her natural mother, until Peaches produced Leslie's birth certificate and verified DNA test results. Eva was shocked to learn of her mother's inheritance and that she had 2 long-lost grandmothers. Leslie declared herself reborn and confronted Anita, chastising the singer for Barbara's death. So antagonized by Leslie that she couldn't keep her cool, Anita smacked Leslie, whom Vernon barely persuaded not to press charges. Shanice and Ashley put an end to their bickering about Derek to help him through the crisis of his paralysis. Derek was ready to reject physical therapy after Madison told him he'd be leaving the hospital in a wheelchair, but Shanice rallied him into doing his first session. Ashley lambasted Andre for kissing Dani after saying he wanted to date her. Andre explained that the kiss hadn't led to anything, but Ashley pronounced that Derek's accident had made her realize she still loved him. Dani encouraged Andre to open up to her about Ashley, yet put the brakes on his attempts to have sex, deciding that Andre would have to romance her the way he had romanced Ashley. Peaches met Ted and told him not to let his chance to make up with Nicole slip away. Nicole blew off Ted's attempt at conversation, then gently broke it to Kat that her parents were divorcing. Kat blamed Eva and Leslie. Eva expressed her condolences to Ted and begged off his invitation to the upcoming Chelsea Cat launch, not wanting to alienate Kat further. June was devastated when Tyrell and Samantha decided not to have a second meeting with her and tore up her beloved photo of the children. Naomi berated herself for ruining June's life, while June made a beeline for Smitty and Martin's condo to say goodbye to the kids. Seeing June hurting, Samantha gave her biomom an updated photo of her and Tyrell. Later, the teens considered seeing June again when the time was right. Meanwhile, June decided to get off the streets and take a job so she could be ready when Tyrell and Samantha ultimately realized they needed her in their lives. Vanessa waved off Nicole's concern about her dalliance with Joey as Doug told Ted to eliminate the obstacles in his life, like he planned to do. Doug went to Jacob with the allegation that Joey had commanded Randy to commit a murder, but Vanessa caught Doug and declared she had power over him because of his unemployment. Kat wanted an update from Jacob about the case against Leslie, but Jacob disappointedly informed his cousin that the investigation was stalled from lack of proof that could get a conviction. Jacob was surprised when Kat asked him for a guy's perspective on sex owing to her disenchantment with Tomas. Hawthorne suggested that Kat take the matter up with Tomas directly. Tomas talked Eva through her identity crisis following the discoveries of Peaches and Barbara, and later borrowed the next book in Eva's series, wondering if its star-crossed lovers would get together. Bill congratulated Chelsea on the impending launch of Chelsea Cat's purse line, but wondered why Madison was visiting his daughter. Chelsea told Bill that Madison was a friend, then sheepishly apologized to her, admitting she hadn't shared her sexual identity with her father yet. After Madison left for the event, someone chloroformed Chelsea, and she woke up shackled to a bed. The Duprees called Bill to find a loophole in the trust bequeathing Barbara's fortune to Leslie. The lawyer only agreed to help if he could be paid with the family's respect, then determined that the trust was ironclad. Anita empathized with Leslie coming from poverty, and wondered if Leslie would have turned out differently had she not allowed Barbara to be edged out of the articulettes. Leslie received a first disbursement of $1 million and attempted to pay Ted back the $50,000 she had extorted from him, only for him to reject her gesture. Bill and Ted scoffed when Leslie crowed that she wasn't the scared young lady they had once intimidated. The men's jaws dropped when Leslie announced that she was buying a house in Fairmont Crest, across the street from the Duprees. Leslie admitted to Eva that she had really only made an offer on the property, but Leslie was overjoyed when her offer was accepted and danced around the room. Same energy as Uncle Phil continually gave Jazzy Jeff the boot on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This week on Beyond the Gates, Leslie attempts to plant herself firmly beyond the gates. Too bad that Bill won't let her overstay her welcome at the Dupree mansion. In other news, Chelsea's kidnapped, and as a result, exes Dani and Bill bond over their shared fear for their daughter. Unsurprisingly, Leslie is already making herself comfortable at the Fairmont Crest Country Club. "I need to stake my claim on Fairmont Crest, ASAP," she states as she looks over to Ted. What plan is Leslie cooking up now? She will also visit the Dupree mansion again this week. Maybe Leslie wants to announce that she's moving across the street. Or maybe she wants to antagonize Anita once more. Needless to say, the Duprees aren't happy to see her, and Bill decides to take his fixer role seriously. "May I?" he asks Vernon. "Be our guest," Vernon responds. Suddenly, Bill picks Leslie up and starts to throw her out the door. "Unhand me, demon!" Leslie exclaims. The video preview also includes Vanessa and Joey having an intense meeting. "You've seen things, Vanessa, and I'm not in the habit of leaving loose ends." Vanessa entertains Joey too much for him to remove her from his life forcefully and/or violently. "Are you threatening me?" she asks the casino owner. Could Vanessa and Joey be the unlikely couple who exchange wedding vows, as the teasers suggest? Of course, Vanessa would have to divorce Doug first in order for this to happen. The weekly teasers also reveal that Samantha and Martin will have some father-daughter bonding time. Things with the Smith-Richardsons have been shaky lately, so this quality time will be good for them. However, look for a little tension to erupt. "You can't stop me from growing up," the teen tells her pop. "Samantha, there are dangers everywhere," he advises. Maybe he brings up the time she talked to that bigoted busboy. She had no business helping him out in the park. After Nicole announces that Chelsea isn't at the club, the Duprees must mobilize to find one of their own. A distraught Dani pleads with Bill to bring her home and hugs him for some much-needed comfort. Dani needs her ex-husband to be the family fixer and get their daughter back sooner rather than later. Beyond the Gates spoilers for the week of August 25th to 29 suggest some major moments in Fairmont Crest. Chelsea Hamilton is locked in a scary hostage situation, while Martin Richardson makes a sketchy deal. Plus, two unlikely characters say, "I do." Beyond the Gate spoilers for the week of August 25th to 29 imply that Chelsea will be in a bona fide hostage situation. Fans saw her get chloroformed and dragged away during the Friday, August 22nd episode, so during the Monday, August 25th show, the Dupree family will finally discover that one of their own has gone missing. Viewers also saw Chelsea chained to a bed, and as the days go by, the situation will intensify. In fact, as the weekend hits, the kidnapper will have an insane demand for the Dupree family. With that said, Martin is slated to make a deal with the devil. What will he agree to, and does this have to do with his cousin's kidnapping? Lastly, Jacob Hawthorne and Catherine Cat Richardson will team up and start investigating. Can they rescue Chelsea in time? In an interesting twist, two unlikely characters will get married next week. Could Leslie Thomas and Ted Richardson head to the altar? Leslie will certainly ruffle some feathers during the week of August 25th-29, so only time will tell. Across town, Derek Baldwin will open up to Ashley Morgan. Derek had a horrible accident that left him no feeling in his legs, thus having to leave his firefighter career behind. So if he admits that he still dreams of marrying her, Ashley's guilt may have her agreeing to saying, "I do." In other interesting news, Andre Richardson will see a close moment between Dani Dupree and Bill Hamilton. The parents will be reeling over their missing daughter, so BTG fans should expect these two to bond a little over the traumatic experience. Lastly, Vanessa McBride will share news with the Dupree family. Is this about Chelsea's kidnapping or Leslie's new mansion? In addition, Tomas Navarro will help Eva Thomas with something. Looks like he's growing closer to Eva and further away from Kat. Will Kat cut him loose at some point? Are you looking forward to the week of August 25th-29? Comment below. Watch your favorite CBS soap daily and check out CTS often for the best Beyond the Gates spoilers, news, and updates. Are y'all ready to go beyond the gates? This week, Doug proved how whipped he is. Ashley and Andre both played ping pong, and June decided on the ultimate glow-up to impress Tyrell and Samantha. Meanwhile, the purse launch equation turned out to be Chelsea Cat, Chelsea Ixeus, and Peaches crossed paths with her almost daughter's almost boo. Then, of course, there was Leslie, who started her week not believing she was entitled to Barbara's money, and ended it using her first million to park herself across the street from the Duprees. Let's fill up those two scoops and find out what happened inside and outside the gates of Fairmont Crest. Leslie was not about Peach's claim that she was entitled to the cash that had been set aside for deceased articulette Barbara Mitchell and her family. Ms. Thomas insisted that the paperwork that Peaches produced, which included correspondence, Leslie's birth certificate, and a DNA test proving the mother-daughter connection, could very well be faked. After all, Leslie had faked some documents of her own over the years. But Peaches wasn't fuzzy on the details and even forked over a hairbrush that had belonged to her high school friend Barbara, from which Leslie could extract hair follicles and run her own genetic test if she so desired. The only part Peaches didn't know was exactly where Barbara's money had been funneled in from. She did know that Barbara's only other living relative, a sister, was also dead, which left Leslie as the only next of kin. Leslie texted Eva, who apparently ran 3 stop signs, rushing over because she thought there was some sort of emergency. Eva wasn't falling for the fanciful financial tale any faster than Leslie had, though soon Leslie asked Eva if she liked her Peaches cling or halved. And bam, Eva was face to face with her sort of grandmother, a lady Leslie really hadn't told Eva much about. Eva took it all in, and Leslie, who usually protects her soft side with even more care than she uses to pack away her wigs, got surprisingly emotional with the woman who had raised her. Leslie cheered Peaches as being a mother to her when no one else would, and acknowledged that Peaches had been there for her when I was out actin' a fool. Later, Leslie even swore to Eva that she was going to use her windfall to get Peaches the best possible health care, presumably to extend the woman's life. Of course, we only have Peach's word that she's actually terminal, but we gotta start somewhere. Leslie and Eva squealed over the mounting money shot, even after a cute moment of mother faking daughter out with a "what's all this wee business?" when Eva assumed Leslie's newfound funds would trickle down on her. Sweetly, Leslie made it known that it was never in doubt whether Eva would benefit. She's the devil for sure, but not one without a heart. It's nice to see it beating once in a while. Eva had hoped, since Leslie's gripe had always been that she'd barely had enough to support herself and Eva, that coming into cash would mellow her moms out. Nope. And that was lucky for us, because nouveau riche Leslie is already highly entertaining. The first stop on her Moneybags tour was the doorstep of La Dupree, and Anita was none too happy to see the woman who had torpedoed her older daughter's marriage. The reborn Leslie confused the hell out of the Articulettes' lead singer, going on about Barbara and how Anita's face-saving tribute to Barbara at the concert really hadn't meant much. After all, why would Barbara matter two hoots to Leslie? A mere commoner. Leslie got Anita's dander up by placing the full responsibility for Barbara's ejection from the group and subsequent suicide squarely at Anita's designer-shoed feet. But Anita's barely there tolerance for Leslie turned into some seriously raised eyebrows, mostly after Leslie announced that I won't be as easy to get rid of as my mama. Anita finally put it together and raged that she would have known if Barbara had had a child. Moreover, there was no way in hell Anita was going to let Leslie get her hands on a kitty that Anita had sunk Dupree money into herself. Leslie had assumed that the record company had put royalties aside for Barbara, but Anita reminded her nemesis that Dante Green had pushed Barbara out before the group had even made their first record. Finding it increasingly delicious that she was going to be able to take money from Anita, Leslie continued throwing that fact in Anita's face, mentioning that the timing was superb since she had recently been served with an eviction notice. That was news to me. But let's backtrack on Dante Green for a moment. How much you want to bet that he's Leslie's father? It would make sense. Maybe part of the reason Dante wanted Barbara gone had less to do with her performance and more to do with being a walking scandal once he got her pregnant. I know a lot of y'all are theorizing that Vernon is Dana's dad, but he said he had never even met Barbara. He only met Anita once the Articulettes were on the road without her. So don't be besmirching my Vernon over here. Though a soap being a soap, Vernon getting with Barbara before getting with Anita certainly isn't impossible. Anyway, Leslie stepped up her finger pointing, fuming that she hadn't been able to get to know Barbara because of Anita's runaway ambition. Barbara only killed herself because of her. And that statement gave us Anita Dupree's first bitch slap, delivered right to, as Leslie would say later, her precious cheek. Vernon saw this first-level beatdown, and Leslie gleefully used the fact that there had been a witness. She should press charges for assault, just as she had with Nicole. But then, since the Duprees had the cops in their back pocket, and her complaint against Nicole had gone nowhere, she might as well not bother involving the 5-0. Vernon grudgingly thanked her. Leslie smiled that at least Vernon had some class, but such gossamer truces don't last long. Leslie snarked that, since the Articulettes always referred to themselves as sisters, that made Mrs. Dupree her Auntie Nita. And hey, why not do up another concert and let Leslie get on stage to eulogize her moms? Vernon let Leslie know she had pushed her luck and ushered her out, after which Anita ran out of the room, about to be sick. Oh man, such good stuff. Leslie versus Anita? More, please. All day. I feel really bad for Derek. Let's just get that one out of the way. But let's also get out of the way that we do not need a third go-round with Dashley. They kinda worked until they broke up over living together. Okay, so it was mature for them to realize they were better off not cohabitating. However, when Ashley refused Derek's proposal, that really needed to be the end. Especially after Derek clued in that Ashley was into Andre, not him. It's bad enough that Ashley is now the one serving up this soap's waffles. One day, she wants to check things out with Andre. The next, she says that Derek's accident woke her up to her love for him. How do these nurses treat whiplash? I could understand Ashley seeing Andre kissing Dani being the deal breaker for her, but she didn't even bother to tell him that was the reason. At least, not at first. She only got around to it when Andre rushed in, having heard about Derek, and started hugging her all over. Ash was colder than an Orphe Jeans ice cream sundae, and kept dodging him until she finally burst and revealed that she had personally witnessed him and Dani slobbering all over each other which she said in a way that had me thinking she was going to hurl in that very moment. Andre was like, "Oh, that?" He gave it his all, guiding Ashley down the winding trail of how he'd summoned Dani to break up with her, and only ended up kissing her when she was super bummed about causing Haley's miscarriage. Yeah, that would settle it for me. Ashley understood that Andre hadn't ended up bedding down with his friend with Benny's, but she came to the conclusion that she didn't need that drama. I would have applauded Ashley being a grown-up there, but seconds later, she did that whole letting on about still loving Derek thing. It's true that she's still in rebound territory, as is Andre, because he has major feels for Dani. It's just that I would have been happier watching Ashley care for Derek as a friend, ex, rather than have his accident be a catalyst for another reunion, which is one of the oldest soap tricks in the book. I hope Ashley has enough butter for both her waffles and Andre's, because this dude wasn't in Dani's presence 5 seconds before he started sending her mixed signals. I loved that Dani apologized for possibly being the one to stop Andre and Ashley before they started, and how about that moment when Dani served Andre club soda and he frowned? "Now you're counting my drinks?" Such a great nod to Dani's brief flirtation with alcoholism, and extra points for Dani's "I just don't want you to turn into me" bit of self-realization. Dani's fun when she's batsit, but I'm even more endeared to her when she's the adult in the room, and she was here, as Andre did his best young MC and busted a move, only for Dani to be all "nuh-uh, not today." Dani has evolved enough that she didn't need Andre coming in there acting like he could just start sexing her again as if he hadn't just dissed her for Ashley. She considered him a close friend, but if he wanted to bring himself up to the cash register, he'd better have the cash to pay. In other words, Dani wanted some of the romance Andre had Kayla V'd all over Ashley. He worried that it could give Dani the wrong idea, but she was willing to chance it. This should be interesting. Derek is the true odd man out here, and not because he can't walk and everybody else can. His saving grace came in the form of Shanice and Ashley, who pulled their claws in to help Derek through his crisis. Ashley even wanted Shanice to be Derek's physical therapist because she was the best. But when Shanice arrived for his first session, Derek didn't wanna, because Madison had said he would be going home in a wheelchair in spite of it. Shanice, awesomeness that she is, told Derek it would behoove him to work on his upper body strength so he could do some getting around on his own instead of being completely dependent on others. This woman rocks! After exercising, Derek and Shanice had a sparky moment where he asked her if she would have stuck it out with him had he become paralyzed while they were in the midst of a relationship. Shanice smiled that she wouldn't have been scared off by the prospect, and that Ashley wouldn't be, either. Are they giving us even the slightest hope for a Shanice-Derek pairing? That is a couple I need to see happen. Ted was at Uptown, still slugging back Jack Daniels instead of doing boo about patching things up with Nicole. Well, wouldn't you know it? Sometimes strangers give the best advice. Ted was visited by an older woman who, after some flirting, told Ted that time was not on his side. He needed to act while he still could. And I guess now we know why he's been so inactive, because when he did approach Nicole, she basically shut him down before he could get a second sentence out. But who was this barfly Ann Landers of whom we have spoken? It was Peaches! Yep, she bellied up to the bar, and neither she nor Ted had any idea that they were connected through Leslie. Wasn't that tasty? I'm also intrigued by Peaches reiterating that Leslie stole a man from her. For her own good, apparently. Am I the only one curious as to who this guy was? And if this tidbit is going to factor into the story anywhere? For a close-knit clan, though, somehow neither Richardson bothered to tell their children about the divorce. Kat only just found out when Nicole finally sat her down, but Martin is still totally in the dark. Hell, Eva knows. But that's only because the first thing Kat did was track Eva down and blame her and Leslie for the official split, climate change, solar flares, hair breakage, and anything else she could think of. Eva snarled that a couple was either compatible or they weren't. Hint, hint. Kat wasn't deaf to the idea that Eva was talking about her and Tomas. Major ouch. Later, Eva told Ted that she was sorry about Nicole filing for divorce, though she politely declined Ted's invitation to the Chelsea Cat purse launch. Ted thought it would be a great way for Eva and the family to acclimate to each other, but Eva didn't want to alienate Kat any more than she already had. The Eva Thomas redemption tour continues. Another woman who's seen a bit of redemption of late is June, and she was champing at the bit to have another visit with Ron and Cecile, Tyrell and Samantha. Unfortunately for June, when Naomi tried to arrange said visit, the teens were good with not seeing June again, which sent June into quite the tizzy. She even tore up her beloved picture that had led her back to her kids in the first place. After June jetted, Naomi blamed herself for ruining June's life. She does that, doesn't she? Mrs. Hawthorne likewise put full responsibility on herself when Bill had his stroke, and she faulted herself for introducing Haley to everyone. Girl, ease up on yourself. Naomi freaked that June might hurt someone else or herself, which, given June's own consistency, was a reasonable concern. June had more presence of mind than that, though. Despite having no phone or, I would assume, a physical map of DC, she managed to find her way to the Richardson-Smith condo, where Smitty and Martin were not particularly happy to see her. Especially since Samantha and Tyrell had just taken another shot at convincing Smitty to let Martin move back in. God love him, he's holding his ground. That's my boy. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.